Our epistle reading for May 15th, 2022 comes from the 21st chapter, the book of Revelation, 1 through 6. This is typically read at funerals. I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. And the new Jerusalem comes down as a bride adorned for the bridegroom. God's self comes to dwell with humanity. And God wipes away every tear from our eyes. And death and mourning and pain end. For God has done something new. But in a way, God has actually done something quite old. That is to say, the Bible ends the way the Bible began. Except instead of a garden, it's a new Jerusalem. Instead of a forbidden tree of life, it is now the spring of water of life, which Jesus in the Gospel of John says comes from Him. He is now the source of our life. And once again, humanity and God are together. There is no separation. Sin is gone. Important to remember that sin is that Greek term often used in archery as the distance that you've missed the mark. And so it is that gap. And that gap in our relationship, but at this end, at the end of all times, the gap is no more. God is with us. In fact, God wipes away the tears from our eyes. God is doing a new thing. And this idea of a new thing is what ties this scripture with the other scriptures. And the question we have to ask ourselves is this: are we clinging on to the past so desperately, wanting to go back to a time when things seemed better, even though probably they weren't? But the great thing about memory is it's selective. We choose to remember the good and we choose to forget the pain and the difficulty. And so we want to go back to better times and better days. We want to hold on to traditions that we remember from our past. But by holding on to our past, by preventing things from changing, or trying to make it like we remember it, are we preventing God from doing something new? This whole chapter talks about the old has passed away. Are we willing to let go of the past so that future generations can find a new, living, and thriving relationship with God based on who they are and not who we were?